Hello friends, this is Bharat and Meena Trivedi.
Varsha and Dilip.
Sapna
and Gaurav Lal.
Suvarna,
Arya,
and Manoj Khari.
Ilanga.
Sejal Desai,
Smita
and Vivek Chaudaha.
Anjali Desai,
T and Deepak Arora.
Pawan
and Rinki Agrawal,
Sid,
And Archana Nair.
Danny,
and Rinku Mehta.
And Sunil Kiani.
Priyanka,
And Vinay Kedia.
I'm Johnny Jenkins.
Karen Fincher.
Raj.
and Aradhna Asava.
Together,
We support
Good afternoon, friends. Like every week on Thursday at 2:45 p.m., here we are, bringing to you our short segment, HungerMitao. We are your hosts, Raj and Aradhna Asava, coming to you from our home through the airways of Funasia, an important partner of ours in this fight against hunger. Friends, through this radio show, we raise awareness about the rampant hunger issue in the United States and share ways in which each one of us, in the spirit of give where you live, can and is making a difference.
friends. Please visit ntfb.org/hungermitao to learn how this volunteer movement is unifying the impact of the Indian American community in fighting hunger in North Texas. The website again is ntfb.org/hungermitao.
Aradhna, it is the new year. Boy, time is flying. And the time for all the harvest festivals in India has come. Happy Makar Sankranti to all. Our best wishes to all our listeners and supporters. May this year usher in hope, optimism, light, and joy in all our lives.
It is so needed, Raj. And I thought today we could do our segment a little differently.
How so?
Let's take a step back to understand the big picture.
Okay,
What is the food insecurity landscape across the USA?
that's a great idea, Aradhna. Let us start with the state of food in America. Here in the United States, we have enough food to feed every man, woman, and child. Yet 72 billion pounds of safe, edible food goes to waste each year. 72 billion pounds.
That's billion with a B.
That's right. In fact, an estimated 25 to 40% of food grown, processed, and transported in the US will never be consumed. And more food reaches landfills and incinerators than any other single material in municipal solid waste.
That's
this
stunning.
is shocking.
Stunning.
Yeah.
In a country that wastes billions of pounds of food each year, it's almost shocking that anyone in America goes hungry.
Even more shocking. That's right.
Yet, every day, there are millions of children and adults who do not get the meals they need to thrive. These are the people we call food insecure. So, what is food insecurity and what does it look like in America?
Well, food insecurity refers to USDA's measure of lack of access at times to enough food for an active, healthy life for all household members and limited or uncertain availability of nutritionally adequate foods. Boy, that's a mouthful.
It's a mouthful, but it makes sense.
It does. Food insecure households are not necessarily food insecure all the time. Food insecurity may reflect a household's need to make trade-offs between important basic needs such as housing or medical bills and purchasing nutritious, adequate food.
Yeah. Millions of children and families living in America face hunger and food insecurity every day. According to the USDA's latest Household Food Insecurity in the US report, more than 35 million people in the United States struggled with hunger in 2019. And that was definitely before COVID-19.
Households with children are more likely to experience food insecurity. Even before the coronavirus pandemic, more than 10 million children lived in food insecure households.
And due to the effects of the coronavirus pandemic, the number of food insecure individuals has grown to more than 50 million,
Wow.
including a potential 17 million children.
Struggling. Wow. Every community in the country is home to families who struggle with food insecurity, including rural and suburban communities.
And of course, many households that experience food insecurity do not qualify for federal nutrition programs and need to rely on their local food banks and other hunger relief organizations for support.
So let's talk about the safety net for people who are food insecure. Availability of government support for households varies based in part on the household income as it relates to the poverty level. Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, SNAP, formerly known as the Food Stamps Program, is the cornerstone of the federal nutrition safety net. It is supplemental, not intended to be the only source of food for the family. Families who cannot make do with just SNAP benefits rely on their local food banks to fill the need.
Great segue, Raj. You talked about food banks.
Yeah.
So let's talk about what food banking is and what that looks like in America. A food bank is a non-profit organization that collects and distributes food to hunger relief charities. Food banks act as a storage unit and a distribution depot for smaller frontline agencies and usually do not themselves give out food directly to people struggling with hunger. Food banks in the US are very diverse, from small operations serving people spread out across large rural areas to very large facilities that store and distribute many millions of pounds of food each year and everything in between. A variety of factors impact how food banks work, from the size of the facility to the number of staff members. But one thing all food banks have in common is that they rely heavily on donors and volunteers to carry out their day-to-day operations.
Well, Aradhana, along with Food Bank, we also hear about Feeding America.
Yeah.
So let me share what is Feeding America and how does that work. Feeding America is the nation's largest domestic hunger relief organization, a powerful and efficient network of 200 food banks across the country. Together, this network covers every single zip code in the country. Unfortunately, there are hungry people and hungry families in every zip code in this country.
That is true.
Feeding America works with manufacturers, distributors, retailers, food service companies, and farmers to gather food before it goes to waste. Each year, it does more to secure a healthy variety of foods for its nationwide network of food banks. Feeding America secures donations from national food and grocery manufacturers, retailers, shippers, packers, and growers, and from government agencies and other organizations. They have staff that work closely with the partners to match excess food with the food banks that most need it. Feeding America supports member food banks with training, oversight, and equipment grants to ensure perishable and non-perishable food is handled and stored properly. The Feeding America nationwide network of food banks also supports programs that improve food security among the people we serve, educates the public about the problem of hunger, and advocates for legislation that protects people from going hungry.
Okay, so now let us look at an individual food bank. But Raj, we're running out of time today.
Yes, that's for sure. So friends, tune in next week as we do a deep dive on how the food bank system works and how they distribute millions of nutritious meals to food challenge children, seniors, veterans, and families in need.
We hope today's information was helpful to all of you as you understand this issue of hunger in America. So as we close our program today, we would like to thank you all for your generosity and for caring about others around you. North Texas Indian American community, thank you. Thank you for caring, for making donations, for becoming multi-year donors, for giving your time, for giving in kind. And thank you, Phonasia, for becoming the mouthpiece for HungerMitao.
Our mission, friends, is HungerMitao. And HungerMitao is as much about eradicating hunger as it is about unifying the fragmented efforts of our community and focusing it on the humanitarian cause of hunger. Let's come together as the entire Indian American community, unified, and show how we engage in any place we call home. We are smart, compassionate change agents who give where we live, so our community benefits from our presence.
Until next week, friends, remember, we may never be able to eradicate hunger, but let us ensure no one goes hungry.
Hello, friends. This is Bharat and Meena Trivedi.
Varsha and Dilip.
Sapna,
And Gaurav Lal.
Suvarna, Arya,
And Manoj Khadi.
Ilanga.
Sejal Desai,
Smita.
and Vivek Chaudaha.
Anjali Desai,
T. And Deepak Arora.
Pawan.
And Rinki Agrawal.
Sid.
And Archana Nair.
Danny.
and Rinku Mehta,
And Sunil Kiani.
Priyanka,
And Vinay Kedia.
I'm Johnny Jenkins.
Karen Fincher.
Raj,
And Aradhna Asava,
together,
we support
HungerMitao!